Hello, I'm Kate Bonner for the Watercooler Diaries on KBTVonline. Thanks for joining. Today we bring you the inaugural segment in a new series. It's called Florida in Focus. These pieces take a look at some of the things you can really only see down here in Florida, from the wacky laws to a midnight sea turtle hatchling hunt. For this episode, my managing editor, Rachel Joyner, and I, we traveled up to St. Petersburg, Florida for a 36-hour tour a la the New York Times travel section. From sunrise shoots to a breast cancer walk to Dr. Feel-Good tea at the Hooker Tea Shop. We saw it all. After a few hours in the car, a trek across Alligator Alley and up I-75, we started to notice a lot more change than just the water being on the other side. The city had a distinctly New England town feel, only with palm trees and lots of sun. We crossed a huge bridge, almost like a majestic gateway into the city, and there was water everywhere. Here in St. Petersburg, folks are deeply steeped in boating culture, which is no surprise as the city's brochure brags of 244 miles of shoreline, the largest municipal marina in the southeast offering 610 boat slips, and one of the nation's top beaches, Fort DeSoto Park. This peninsular town, known by many as St. Pete, is the fourth largest city in Florida with a population of roughly 250,000 residents. So why do they call it the Sunshine City? It holds the Guinness Book World Record, logging the most consecutive days of sunshine, lasting 768 days beginning in 1967. Today, this is a choice vacation spot for Northerners, Europeans, and Canadians, perhaps because it averages 360 days of sunshine a year. That's on average, which means it only rains 5 days a year here. Perhaps that's why everybody is in such a great mood. There are many hotels in St. Pete, but we decided to stay in one that captured the feel of the city, America's Best Inn. It is operated by Stephanie Cox and her husband Brian. That's Stephanie pictured with me on the inn's stoop. She and Brian are a hip young couple. She grew up in the hotel biz. Her parents have owned inns and B&Bs all up and down Florida's coastline. I asked her to slip me some hints about the more under-the-radar screen sights, scenes, art houses, eateries, and more. With map in hand, we set out to see all the sights, and St. Pete has quite a few. It has a museum with the world's largest collection of paintings by Spanish surrealist Salvador Dali, famous for his melting clock picture, the 100-year-old sunken botanical gardens, an aquarium, the pier, which offers restaurants, shops, and activities for kids. The list goes on. But we decided to find all the places that aren't on the map, the ones you don't find in a Google search, the places where the locals go. Our first stop was the Moon Under the Water, an English pub on Beach Avenue, one of those main drags along the Tampa Bay. By the way, the Moon, as it's called, is not English pub food. I lived in England, okay? Yuck. Pub food is greasy sausages and congealed fish and chips. This food at the Moon, it was delicious. We also found a Croatian art gallery that sells oil paintings on glass done by poor Croatian farmers. Jim Nannen owns the gallery with his wife. They moved to St. Pete from Boston 14 years ago. He says he became passionate about the local, what he terms naive art, after he took a trip to Croatia with his son-in-law. Right next door, we happen upon that startup tea company, the Hooker Tea Company. It could really give Starbucks a run for its money, and they offer more than 100 varieties of loose tea in these beautiful stainless steel cans. They're perfectly lined up, great for my OCD. The cafe offers free internet access and squishy, comfy chairs for conversationalists. You simply cannot imagine all the varieties of teas that are available. Black tea, white tea, red tea, tiramisu tea, passionberry tea, Dr. Feelgood tea, pina colada rooibos, Sri Lankan chai, and the list goes on. And what better way to end our first day in St. Pete than with a sunset over the bridge? That bridge I mentioned earlier in the piece that we passed over to get onto the peninsula, that's not just any old bridge. That is the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. It is the largest cable suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere. It stretches 4.1 miles long, rising 19 stories above Tampa Bay. Tune in tomorrow for day 2 of our trip to St. Pete as we crash a national swing dance competition, tag along for a breast cancer walk, and peruse a Saturday morning open market on Central Avenue. Thanks for joining. I'm Kate Bonner for the Watercooler Diaries on KBTVonline.